We're back live in Buffalo, New York at BNMC, in the Innovation Center, the Dig Innovation Center, I should call it.
Yes.
Back at TCO 17. I am one of your hosts, Will Price, joined by my right-hand man,
Nick Castillo. How you guys doing today?
All right.
Thanks for joining us. This is the last of the two competitions that we're going to have today. And I don't know if we're going until 9 o'clock, but I know the competitors are going to be going until 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll be going for a while, though. We have quite a few competitors to share their progress as they work through the final two competitions of the day here at TCO 17.
Yes.
Currently, we have the development competition going. That is going to our left. And to our right, we have the UI prototype competition. In all, it's 23 competitors going right now, all of them cranking out code of varying types.
Absolutely. And they're going to be cranking code for the next 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it's pretty grueling what they have to do, and we'll get into it a little later.
All right. So let's start with maybe a quick look in at the development competition.
Sure.
How does that sound, Nick?
Yeah, and we can talk about what they're working toward.
Yep. And we do have a couple people coming in for interviews over the course of the next couple hours as well. So
For
that's
sure.
something else that you guys can look forward to. Our first developer competitor that we're going to spotlight right now comes from China.
Who's that?
That is Bill S. Edison.
Okay.
So we can see in here he's doing some work in Python. So cool to see that, a little Sublime text action there.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so the developers are working on a challenge. If you're interested in seeing what the developers are looking for, you can go to topcoder.com and you can actually see the full challenge specification on the challenge listing page. It's
Oh.
called TCO 17 Dev Final. Same deal for the UI prototype competition. So if you're interested in what they're doing in detail, go
Okay.
check it out on topcoder.com. But I will give the verbal explanation right now for the development competition. So what we see Bill S. Edison working on is kind of hackathon style challenge. So we didn't give super strict guidelines for what it takes to win on this one. What we did was we dumped out a large amount of data from Topcoder. And when I say a large amount of data, I mean all challenge data, all historical challenge data. And what we're asking them to do is provide some interesting analytics solutions to churn through that data and find insights that will be meaningful to either competitors or Topcoder itself. So this could be a variety of different approaches. They could look for kind of pricing trends over the years, duplicate challenges, or similar challenges that you can use as inspiration going forward. Or kind of guidance in what members are good at what. So what's going to be kind of hard, I think, as we look at people's work to see what they're trying to do, just based on little snippets of code here, because everyone's taking a different approach. You can actually see here Bill S. Edison is looking at the challenge spec, and some of the questions to consider. Let's on the top one: what types of challenges have highest participation? And these are various data points that are going to be helpful to Topcoder members and Topcoder admins. Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about the UI prototype challenge, and we'll pop over there for a moment?
Sure. I actually posted. Oh, I see the dev final now. I was trying to post the two links to the specs so that everyone watching us can actually follow along. What we're seeing here on the prototype side is they are building a mobile app. They're going to be using technologies, front-end technologies, such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and what it is a fun app that was created for a customer. Now, what it is basically an internal crowdsourcing app for a company, let's say like some cereal company, and the employees may see one of their cereal brands in the grocery store, let's say, and it's all beat up, and it shouldn't look like that. It's not presented right. So what they should be able to do is take a picture of the app through their app, through the app, and be able to send it and rate it and say, hey, this doesn't look good, we should change this. Something along those lines. That's how it was kind of explained to me by Adam Moorhead. This was actually created, the graphics were actually created from a Lux challenge at the Gartner conference last week in Orlando. And that challenge lasted 48 hours, and the designs and the images that you are currently seeing, perhaps, I believe, yeah, that one
Yes.
was created at that during that Lux. Now, as far as judging, it's going to be a normal type of UI prototype scorecard. We have 3 reviewers, and then we have a judge's scorecard, which is a little bit different, and that judge is Adam Moorhead. He gets final decision on the entire competition. So that's kind of the breakdown of what they are working on in the UI prototype track.
Right. So keep in mind, you're going to see on the UI prototype side a lot of the visuals of the application, but the focus isn't on creating the visuals, it's on making those come to life and become clickable in a web browser. Right now we're taking a look at Thomas Kranitsas, coming in from Greece, a very popular competitor. Last time we showed him, since he did compete earlier in the first to finish, we had a flood of feedback and likes and hearts on the Facebook feed as everyone gave it up for Thomas, who's very popular in the Topcoder community.
And that was actually kind of a crazy story because prototype had finished 4 minutes later than it should have, because it started 4 minutes later than it should have. So
you mean the first to finish competition earlier?
Right, and then it overlaps with the UI prototype, and Thomas Green is one of 3 members who are participating in both tracks. So what they did was I saw some of them end a little bit early, and they had to go across the arena and get themselves set up as fast as they could. And now he's still going. This is pretty much this day is a marathon for Thomas Kranitsas and the 2 others.
Yeah, absolutely. The other 2, just to give them a little bit of credit, Vasilika Lariu,
Yes, that's
also
right.
competed in both of those competitions. We will have his screen available in just a few minutes. Also, Happy Aesthete from India, the last competitor who competed in both first to finish and UI prototype. So if you caught that first to finish competition earlier, you might also recognize some of the faces who appear in the development competition, because there is a lot of crossover between those challenge types.
Right.
So let's take a moment and check in back on the development side of things with one of the first to finish competitors, who's now continuing his marathon day of coding. Coming in from Nepal, we have Veshu.
All right, let's see what Veshu's up to.
All right. Yeah,
I wish I could tell you exactly what he's up to. So again, he is developing for. Is it a Topcoder app?
Yes,
essentially?
it's a Topcoder app, an analytics application to
Okay.
be used at Topcoder to help us do a better job of targeting challenges.
Okay, very cool.
Sizing challenges, pricing challenges, and getting more people to want to participate in those challenges. Obviously, we want the marketplace on Topcoder to be competitive. We want people to be, doing everything they can to pay out to the members as much as we can.
Right.
So having the right tools based on historical data, and this is not a small amount of data. This is data from, I believe it's 2004 on, or
Holy
2005.
crap. Yeah.
So it's over 10 years worth of challenge data from Topcoder.
Very cool.
Right. I think it's time we should probably go check in. I want to do it early in the broadcast, since this particular member, the defending champion in the development track, is from Poland. It is Sky. Wanted to make sure we highlight him. I know there might be some friends and family back home in Poland checking out what he's up to.
Yes, shout out to Sky's friends. They kept asking his wife, and his wife relayed the message saying, hey, Sky's friends and family are wondering when, the live broadcast is coming on. They want to watch. So hopefully they're on. It might be a little late in Poland, but they can watch the repeat if they need to.
Yeah, if necessary. But hopefully you guys stayed up and are able to see what he's up to now. So right now, just getting a little look at some of the tools that he likes to use. So as mentioned earlier, Sky is the defending champion in this track. Extremely talented developer. Works very fast, has very high standards for himself and for any work that he submits. So seeing what he does, kind of his methodology, can definitely be useful for anyone learning.
Absolutely. And now for those kind of wondering, maybe you're a little bit new to Topcoder. Yes, development may seem like a one-track type deal, but no, first to finish is more of a fast version. At first to finish, you do need to know a little bit back end, a little bit of front end, but you need to. They're short little problems. UI prototype is more on the front end side of coding, but this development track is a little more grueling. You do need to know a lot about the back end when competing. So you're going to see a lot of API usage and.
Yeah, probably some open source libraries going to get pulled in here too as they sort through the analytics. They definitely want to make sure that everything's fair game pretty much here. And obviously, you need to write your own app, but you can use open source libraries as needed because this is real software development, not a strict algorithm competition. This is something that needs to be usable by an end user at the end of the day.
And it's amazing that they have to create this all in 4 hours.
So it looks like Sky is doing most of his work here in JavaScript. We have a little look right now at one of his API endpoints. Looks like this is the body of the call there. So cool to see what he's up to. A WebStorm user. I know he's very particular about his tool sets, and it certainly shows he competes in a large volume of challenges.
Saw a little Postman earlier, something we've seen. That we saw earlier.
In the first to finish competition, absolutely. So we've so a little action in the chat, Nick.
Cool.
Funny enough, I didn't even see this before we showed Sky, but TMKZMU asked us if we could show Sky.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah,
So
got a little like here on Facebook as well.
Getting a little love for Sky, the defending champion.
Let's see if he can repeat.
Yeah, he definitely has a good chance. He comes in here as the favorite. One of the competitors, though, will be coming up right behind him. Another extremely strong developer who's competing today, coming in from Spain. Bird of Preru.
All right, Bird of Preru. He actually attended the TCO last year, but he was only there as a trip winner. And he told me, he's like, next year I'm going to be in the development track. I'm going to be in the finals. And he, I believe, proved that in the first quarter.
The first stage of qualification.
Yes.
Oh wow! And he definitely came out swinging. Sergey, his first name's Sergey. He also is a co-pilot.
Correct.
Does a lot of work on the Topcoder platform, helps us out there. If you're watching this on the Topcoder dashboard, Sergey embedded the stream for us. So he did that as well.
Very talented.
So a lot of experience and just does a great job for us.
And I'd also like to mention, I mentioned Thomas being a cab member earlier. Bird of Preru and Sky are 2017 cab members as well.
All right, Nick, can you tell us a little bit about what the cab is as we sit here and use acronyms? We should probably clarify for everybody.
Yes, I mentioned it before, but yeah, Community Advisory Board is what the cab stands for. It's a collection of representatives from each track. So we have 3 members that I just mentioned in the development track. We have 2 members for Coder and who's the other one? Ravi June, yes.
Okay.
Who are actually both here. And then for data science, we have Leo Traviselli. It was always hard to pronounce his last name, but I call him Leo for Leopoldo. And so that group of people represent the Topcoder community. They kind of are our ears into the crowd. So, they hear the strifes and they want to be a part of change on our platform, to make it a better and easier place for members to compete and, bring the competition, bring all the great challenges to us. So they do this on a volunteer basis as well. So it's very helpful to us as the Topcoder team, and they do a great job. And yeah, it's great to see them in person because it's always you can get a lot more information from someone by looking them in the eye as well. So great to see them. Great to see that they're competing as well.
Yeah, super strong developers and designers as well as pillars in the community.
Absolutely.
All right, going to take a look now at a first-time TCO finalist. We're looking now at CatchJS 09.
All right. Yeah, Kets.js has really fought to get into this position in the TCO finals. He has won a fair amount of challenges. I had seen his name in a lot of first place spots, and good for him for claiming a spot in these finals for the first time.
Ket's coming in from India, a very vocal member of the community who definitely wants to see the community improve all the time. And I have a feeling he'll be making a run for cab at some point as well. So cool to see Ket's here. This is his first TCO, and he's only been competing on the platform for about a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the other thing that was kind of surprising to me. Bird of Preru and Thomas had almost just joined before the TCO 16 finals, and they're starting, I believe, to make a legacy for themselves on the platform. So Kets.js might be this year's Bird of Preru and Thomas.
We'll certainly see. Looks like his laptop output is fighting us a little bit, so I think it's a good opportunity to move along to Zhangli Wu. Coming in from China, another very talented developer. I see his name pop up all the time. And sometimes when we have a few bugs we need squashed out and we don't have time to run a full challenge, we'll just ping him directly and just say, hey, are you free? And he'll come in, even if he hasn't worked on the application, and knock stuff out overnight.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good sign of a good developer.
Always willing to help out, and obviously he's compensated for the time.
Oh, of course.
Always willing to jump in and learn something new and ramp up as quickly as he can to get things done. Not at all surprised to see him in the finals here.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know too much about Zhangli Wu, but from what I hear, he does a great job on the platform. So good job for him.
Yeah, looks like he's got his data stored in MongoDB, and he's checking out some of the data there. Now he's kind of migrated back to some of his JavaScript. You're going to notice that there are going to be many developers here writing in Java. There are a lot of Node competitors here. And their starting point, if they're working with Node, is the Topcoder starter pack, which, funny enough, was primarily developed by Sky. So,
wow, and you'll hear his name a lot when talking about the development track in Topcoder. Topcoder.
Well, when you come in as the favorite, then that's what's going to happen.
I don't know. Do you think he feels the pressure?
I don't think he does, to be honest, Nick. He's
I think
cool
he does have
as
he has a lot of confidence.
Yes, he's got a lot of confidence.
And you need that kind
he
of
just
confidence.
he's never struck me as the type who would be intimidated by the moment. So
I agree.
He's got that little bit of swagger, So he'll definitely be placing high, I think. So let's move along and check out what's going on with Chalk 68.
Chalk 68. Yeah, when I was doing the welcoming, I saw the pronunciation as shock.
Oh, there it is.
There
Sorry.
we go.
All right, we got it. Little all the numbers are blending together when I look at the screens, Nick.
No worries.
It's marathon days. Today's our marathon match. Yesterday it was for the developers. Today it's for us and for Thomas Krenitsa
Yes.
and Happiest Steve
And
Basilica.
yes. Yeah, a long day for everyone. I think they're actually outputting a little more work than we are. So, I mean, this is stressful. It could be stressful for people like us. Who knows? But no, we're having fun. We're having a great time.
No, this is. We have the easy job
That's
when
true.
it comes to if it's us or the people on screen. I think that they have it a little tougher than us. So,
All right, so we
Chalk
got some
68
working in
from
Eclipse.
Spain.
Looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, and Chalk 68 is a Java developer primarily. So
Okay.
he's actually writing Java files instead of JavaScript. So interesting to see what how he's going to present this here. Any tidbits on Chalk 68?
Unfortunately, I don't. I
bit
feel
of
like
an
he's a
enigma.
new. Is he a new member? I don't remember him being.
I
at the
definitely have
last
seen
one.
his name in the past.
In the past,
so I
at past
don't think he's a
TCOs?
new member. No. But all right, sorry to put you on the spot there.
No worries.
Now, good work coming in from Chalk 68 as he is so far I think the first Java competitor that we've seen working on this. Right. as we continue our tour of the developers, we're going to now jump over, and Nick, I'm gonna leave the name to you on this one.
Uh-oh. All
Who
right.
we
This.
have?
Oh, okay. The way it was pronounced for me is 5-star Wang Yi. Is
5-star Wang Yi,
Yeah.
coming in from China. I'm going to guess maybe the WY or almost the initials for the name Wang Yi.
I believe so. Yes.
But we'll roll with that. So.
Oh, look. Maybe he's checking how much time he has left. 1 hour 53. But that's the same spec that you can actually view yourself. If you are on Facebook Live, I have posted the comments the URLs if you want to follow along.
We have it in the chat. The request is for more Sky.
Oh, more
So,
Sky.
The guy is popular. We're going to get back to Sky
We will,
in just
we
a
will.
couple of minutes. Everyone in this competition has worked extremely hard and deserves at least a couple minutes in the limelight before it becomes the Sky show.
Yes.
But I feel like every time we show anyone's screen, we always mention Sky because his work always ties back to
Somehow, yes.
what everyone else is doing. So yeah, a good
A lot of
look here at
competitors to
5-star
get to
Wang Yi.
today. How many do we have working on this development track?
There are 12 competitors right now going on the development track. There are 11 competitors going on the UI prototype track, which we've only lightly touched on so far.
Right. We'll get there.
Yeah, so the stages are as full as they have been at TCO 17. So we're going through and focusing pretty heavily on the development challenge right now. We will switch to a little more UI prototype coverage shortly. We do have fewer video feeds on that one. We're able to show 5 screens in the UI prototype challenge. So
5 out of 6. Not
we'll
too bad.
continue cranking away at the developers and make sure everyone gets a moment in the limelight. Our next competitor coming in from Ukraine is... I haven't clicked it yet. I was seeing if you knew who came from Ukraine.
I know a bunch of people from Ukraine.
But in this case, it is Nightwolf. So Nightwolf,
The morning pup.
Yes. So I'm going to guess, and I'm not at all surprised to see he's writing in C#. I would
Interesting.
from my anecdotal experience, I would probably rate Nightwolf as the strongest C# developer on Topcoder currently active. If you don't
And you
agree
run
with me,
some-
you can either tell me in the chat, or you can compete and try and beat out Nightwolf next year. But I have to say, he's really, really good at it.
Wow. Yeah, I did see him come up at TCO 16. I think he performed pretty well in that event as well. So looking forward to seeing what he can do in this challenge.
Yeah, and that's one of the things to note. Since this is a hackathon competition, did I say hackathon?
I think it's
Hackathon.
hackathon
I combined the word
competition.
hackathon and style. Hackathon
Oh.
style competition.
Sometimes you have to save some time on words.
Yeah, you know,
It helps.
Hackathon.
Hackathon.
You know what? I'm just gonna own it.
Okay.
All right, in this hackathon competition, there's no restriction on what you can use for your language. Sometimes challenges will say we're looking for a Node app, we're looking for some Java classes,
Right.
we're looking for some Microsoft components. It can really vary based on what the customer is looking for. Here, it's wide open. They can use whatever they're most comfortable with, and what matters is successfully delivering on those requirements.
I personally love that kind of style because it gives developers a chance to, be a little creative and perhaps, show a little bit of their style, and hopefully it resonates with the judges when they look through their project.
Right. Well, I think the results are really going to be what matters. Obviously, people are going to have well-structured code. That's a given. But really, I think the creativity is going to play in here a little more than it might in a standard code challenge as well. Taking a look in now at Spanhawk in India.
Spanhawk
Or
in
from
India.
India. He's in Buffalo. From India, made the long flight here to compete in the development track. So I've seen a little Scala here. That's first time that just jumped out at me. If someone else was doing it, I didn't notice it yet, and I'll have to be honest and maybe shame myself a little bit here and say I'm not super familiar with Scala, so I'm not. my
different.
super high level commentary is going to be even more high level than usual. So it's cool just to see the different breadth of technologies that are going to be used by the competitors here.
Definitely seeing a lot of different IDEs as well. It's kind of interesting to see everyone's choice of,
So
of where they like to
IntelliJ over
where they
here.
like to develop.
Right, little So some cool stuff coming in from Spanhawk.
Oh, look, we got our Stack
Shocking.
Overflow.
Shocking. Someone's on Stack Overflow. Look at that. Now he's looking up how to do a switch statement. And I think that just goes to show, I mean, I'm not even going to switch away. This isn't embarrassing. This is development.
This is development.
Modern development. You know, why reinvent the wheel if you don't have to?
Yeah.
So.
And, you know, there's so much space, so much memory in your brain, you can't remember everything. So just imagine, like, before the internet, how people were, you know, well, they were using punch cards probably, but still, you got to learn somewhere, and
yeah,
Stack Overflow is really facilitating that.
All right, swinging over now to Uyanki.
Hey, very good.
Uyanki.
That's probably one of your best pronunciations yet.
All right, well, it's not hard to step over that bar. Uyanki coming in from China. What do we have here? Looks like he's checking out his MongoDB right now.
Oh, wow.
I have a feeling we're seeing a lot of MongoDB usage because the data is being provided in a JSON format. It's easy to convert that into a MongoDB collection. So we're seeing a lot of people opt to just kind of stick with that, not worry about data transformation or mapping it out to a relational database. So that's why I think we're seeing so much of that. Also, the Topcoder, you know, it's pretty common on Topcoder to see a mean stack. So, Nick.
Mean stack.
I'll tell you what a mean stack is.
Ooh,
don't worry.
Please tell me.
So that is a
It's not an angry stack of pancakes?
It's a pretty. It's a pretty standard stack that we see in modern web development with MongoDB, Express.js, AngularJS, and then Node being the 4 primary frameworks that power the mean stack. If you're interested in the mean stack, you can check it out. There's a couple different options that are used. There's mean.js, mean.io. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones. But we're going to probably see a lot of that usage because that eases a lot of the transition points going from your data store to your service layer to your front end. They all play super nice together, and you can get a mean application up and running in under 30 seconds, a basic mean application. So when speed is of the essence, like it is here,
yeah.
you know, using those frameworks that are ready to go can certainly help out.
See, and yes, with 4 hours to work, I'm sure, yeah, it comes in handy.
All right, we have one competitor left in the in this development challenge that we haven't checked in with yet, and he hails from Russia.
Russia.
Yes, and I have to do these at the same time. I have to click 2 things at once, 2 different computers, but there it is. Serivok 83. Did I get that one wrong?
Serivok, yeah.
Serivok, all right. I'm actually interested to see what technologies he's rolling with.
Xcode. All right, so he's building an iPhone app.
He's building it as an app, it looks like. And I was actually curious about this because Serivok is one of the strongest iOS developers working on Topcoder right now.
This is very interesting. You have a lot of these developers with different strong backgrounds. I'm sure they have similar knowledge in other types of technologies, but if you have a strong suit, you're gonna use it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna be extremely interested in seeing how this works. Looks like he's got a calendar view, and this might map out that challenge data over time and make it a little more visual. I honestly don't know how he's going to deliver on it, but I'm genuinely curious. This is probably the most interesting story going on right now in this hackathon challenge. Serivok is just excellent on iOS development and a totally different approach. So I think we're gonna have to check back in with him periodically to see how it's all coming together. It looks like it's a Swift application. I mean, that makes sense. Why would you use Objective-C when you're a seasoned Swift developer? But man, how's that going to play out? I'm really curious if he's going to do his crunching at the device level, which wouldn't make a lot of sense to me for scalability or performance, or if he's also writing APIs and we're just not seeing that at this point in the competition.
We could just be seeing his front end work here.
Yes, I think that's the more likely scenario, and there's going to be some level of crunching going on, behind the APIs. Well, that's cool. I'm glad that we kind of saved him for that because it perks you up a little bit. You're like, oh wow, there's something you weren't expecting. Cool. All right, if you want to pop in, check up on the chat. Is there a list of participants in the development challenge? If you go to topcoder.com, check the challenge listings. I believe On Facebook, we have posted the links. We have not done so yet over on Twitch. I can work on that in a few minutes if you want to read
Well,
that.
we can list them out for you.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely read it out and let you know who's in there and also what they're trying to do. So, looks like we're going to loop back. We did talk about that a little earlier, but I know that at the stream, people come and they go, so we will describe that. Let's first start with the development challenge problem as we continue to watch Stereovolk83 working on his iOS. Although I have seen more requests for the defending champion. So you know what? Before I talk through it, I like to listen to the people.
All right, give the people what they want.
The people want Sky. The people will get some more Sky. So here we can see what Sky is working on. The challenge for developers is a hackathon style. See, pause that time.
Hackathon. Got it.
Hackathon style competition where they have to come up with basically the most impressive solution. We're not giving them a customer app, but we're giving them a really high level task and ask. The development competitors have been provided with a data dump of every the challenge details of every single challenge ever published on Topcoder.com. It's over 10 years worth of data that's going out there. The file was, I think it was 150 meg JSON, in just JSON files. So just text files. It's just a massive amount of data coming from Topcoder. They need to pull together some sort of analytics solution that's going to float up interesting or useful data. If you take a look at that challenge spec, what you'll see is a couple suggestions for things. What are the most popular types of challenges? How do we find that? And how do we have a tool that shows us that as time goes on? Can we narrow it down to specific time periods? Oh, hey, in 2005 to 2008, C# was our big thing, but now it's Node. I mean, I could probably tell you that off the top of my head just looking at Topcoder day to day. The JavaScript's a lot more popular now than C#. But it's a really cool opportunity to try and find other interesting trends over time that can help inform Topcoder as a company or the Topcoder community as in the future. As we launch more challenges, bring in more customers, and pay out more money to the community.
Right.
As mentioned, it's wide open on the technology front. You can use anything from Swift to JavaScript to Java. We saw some Scala. We saw C#. We've seen a wide variety of technologies being used by these competitors right now. So that's the competition. And then the other ask here was, who are the competitors who are competing right now? I'm just going to go right down the list.
Sure.
I'm just going to read it right down the list as we continue to look at the defending champion Sky. The full list of competitors, the 12, we have Bill S. Edison, Bird of Preru, Shock 68, Nightwolf, Oyanki, Serdivok83, 5-Star Wang Yi, Jiangli Wu, Kets JS09, Sky _ Vishu, and coming in the last position there, Spanhawk. That was not based in any particular order. It was just what I have listed out on my sheet of paper in front of me. Everyone's on even footing right now. After this challenge completes, which will be 9 p.m. Eastern Time, they will submit their code using the standard tools that they would use in any Topcoder challenge, and a team of architects from Topcoder will be going through and reviewing them almost immediately. So that's the format of this particular competition. So TMKZMU, I hope that was helpful. And Gorab, I'm not going to list all those numbers, but Gorab and TMK, thank you for tuning in and asking the questions. Very happy to help out wherever we can. Hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity. We do have a question about what time the algo finals start, and that is Nick's got the answer for me.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock is what we have on the schedule here.
All right.
Eastern, yes.
Yeah, 1 o'clock Eastern
UTC.
time, UTC -4 for anyone around the world who needs to figure out what that lines up with for you. We will have the algo finals in their entirety live on the stream, and that will be very exciting as the top 6. We've had 2 very good, very entertaining algorithm rounds.
Yes, we have.
Leading into the finals. So we will have that tomorrow.
All right. That was a good summary of the dev track. I think we should move on over to the
Yeah,
UI Proto.
let's let them have a little time in the limelight. So Nick, do you mind? I've seen that the number of viewers has jumped up a little bit.
Sure.
So I'm thinking we probably have a couple new faces in here. Do you mind explaining what they're working on?
Yeah, so essentially, as a UI prototyper, this kind of falls in line for, if a customer comes to Topcoder and they're like, we're looking for some sort of, MVP type product to, probably show potential investors. So they want an app that looks like it could possibly work. So it's not going to work completely. It's not probably going to use a lot of data, but as long as the app or whatever's being built is clickable, that is a success in the UI prototype book. So what we have here, they have been given access to a bunch of different images, and they have some sort of wireframe idea of how it's supposed to look. Now, as you can see here, the images are all lined up, and then you have the code next to it. So what we're looking at here is a lot of front-end development. There's going to be some HTML, some CSS, some JavaScript, and perhaps some other technologies that I'm not mentioning at the moment.
Yeah, well, those are going to be the main three. One
Right.
of the questions that I posed earlier to Adam Moorhead, who is running this competition for us, wearing many hats, also running the UI design competition, I asked Adam if there were any front-end frameworks that were going to be used, any React or Angular. He said the answer was no, despite the Copilot wanting to do that.
Oh, really?
Not everyone is fully up on every framework, but HTML, JavaScript, and some basic JavaScript and some CSS are all going to be pretty universal. So that's no frameworks, but really their goal is to take these static images that have been provided to them and make them come to life and be clickable in the web browser. It's a lot of work to do, and you need to get a pixel perfect, and you need to do it in 4 hours.
Correct. And this one in particular, just kind of going back to what this whole app is all about, the design that you see, it was actually created from a Lux challenge at the Gartner conference last week in Orlando. We saw the design competition happen a little earlier. It was something similar to that, but they were given 48 hours. So this was probably from one of the winners of that competition. And what it is, it's supposed to be a crowdsourcing employee brand feedback. So for example, I'm an employee of a company that, I gave the idea of cereal, like a cereal brand. And you go and you see that brand in a grocery store, and it's all beat up and things like that. So the employee would be able to open up this app and provide feedback. They could take a picture, they could write in, they can score the product. So that's what they're working on in a nutshell.
Right.
From my understanding.
Yeah, and I mean, you're seeing the perfect examples right there. I saw the damaged boxes on the screen.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually thought you might have been looking at that, but you can see here, wrong advertising, if someone sees the wrong advertising. So, yeah, it's a way to help a brand manager know when, they don't have full control over the brand. Someone else might. It's a way to report that back and see how well it's performing. Right now, we are looking at the screen of Hi for Sandy coming in from India. Taking a look at the tools here.
Hi for Sandy is a very popular UI prototyper. He's been around for a while. I actually, a little background on me, I was a customer of Topcoder for a company, and Hi for Sandy actually worked on a lot of our projects. I got to work hand in hand with him, so I know he's good, and it's no surprise that he's here at the finals. So we can see that he's running his program locally, and when he has his code to the right of it, you can see that he's kind of testing as he changes the code. How does it affect it, in his local environment?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's compiling and running in real time here. So as he makes changes, it's happening in his browser right away. And I know that some of this might seem like very basic stuff that we might talk through, but we want to try and keep this as accessible as possible. So in the left side of the screen here, you'll notice that he's running this on localhost 3000. That just means he's hosting it on his local machine. 3000 is the standard port that he's using. to host this application. But that /index.html is the important part here. That tells me that this is real code that's running. So right now, if he goes and clicks on that and swipes across, that means it's actually rendering appropriately. Now, he started with a static image. He started with PSD files, which are Photoshop design files, or potentially even PNGs.
So they're using this new program called Zeplin, and this is how they are accessing all of the images in its separate layers. So, you don't have to download each image separately. You can actually click on the one you want and download that particular layer into an image file that you can then use in your code.
Mm-hmm. So they're just slowly filling everything in, piece by piece, layer by layer, and you can see that the tool sets that are being used, which admittedly, I don't come from the front end background, so I don't know the name of every tool. If we see Adam floating around, he might be able to provide a little bit of that extra context for us.
Sure.
But you can see the tools that they're using and how it lays out the pixel widths, which becomes very important when you're working with responsive design. These are going to run. They need to be running well on a mobile device. If they're opening it and a browser on their phone, it needs to look good on a tablet, and it needs to look good on a desktop as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to continue our tour of the algorithm competitors that we have. Our next competitor comes in from China, and it is a basketball fan, clearly Iverson LV. His picture here he sent us, it was he and a bunch of friends all wearing Allen Iverson jerseys. And obviously his Topcoder handle is based on Iverson as well, so must have made a big impact there. I guess it was probably about 10 years ago when Iverson was at his peak.
Wait, are you talking about practice?
I
know you're not talking about practice.
Talking about a game.
Okay. So what's he up to?
So looks
kind of like the same thing, I feel like.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it's going to be very consistent across here.
Right.
Ultimately, everyone's moving in towards the exact same goalpost here. And really, what's going to differentiate the winners is who has the smoothest experience, who has the fewest bugs, who has the best responsive performance. So you're going to see people doing a lot of the same stuff, but it's going to be a matter of efficiency and performance when we get to that final position.
Correct.
I do think it's worth taking a minute to note we do have 5 feeds coming in from the UI prototype competition, but there are 11 competitors in that competition, and while we can't share everyone's screen, I do think it's important to call out everyone. So I just want to run through the roll call right now, everyone who's over there.
That's a good point. Actually, I'm a little upset that we aren't able to pull in Mooley G. Mooley G is our reigning champion, and this prototype track had just started 2 years ago when we had the design finals in Indonesia. I was there for that one, and it was the first time that we had a prototype competition. So Mooley G had won that, and I remember we actually made it I believe, was it actually 24 hours? It might have been 24 hours or 16 hours, and I think Adam decided, hey, that's a little bit much. I think he was trying to make it more of a marathon type competition at the time. But obviously now it is not quite as long. It's about 5 hours they get now. So anyway, I digress. Mooley G, reigning champion, and unfortunately we can't get to him right now, but we will hopefully see him on stage. Maybe he'll claim his 3rd one in a row. But Mooley G, undefeated, and I could safely say has never lost yet. But the competition that we see up there, it's going to be really tough.
All right. Yeah, Mooley G comes in from Sri Lanka as well. That's quite the flight to get to Buffalo. Right.
I'm sure it is.
Seated to the left of Mooley G, also another one we're not able to get the screen of, is NGHI85 from Vietnam.
I've seen this name a lot on in forums and in the win column, pretty much on Topcoder. So no surprise that we see him here, and he's competing right next to Mooley G.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of finishing out that line of three who we don't get to show, we have SM Trying Code, another one I'm disappointed I can't show today.
Right.
SM Trying Code comes from India and is one of the female participants into the TCO finals this year.
Yeah, and they're not
Their second
too many.
finals too.
Yeah, second finals in a row. She's evidently doing great work on Topcoder and earning her way into this competition.
Yeah, well, I think her handle SM Trying Code. It's an interesting story. So this is her second finals.
Okay.
But prior to that, she created a Topcoder account, having no experience coding. She literally was trying code.
Are you serious?
And worked her way into the TCO finals within her first year.
That is amazing.
Had a bit of a disappointing finals last year, but this year seems to be on track.
That's good. Yeah, the problem set here is a little more understanding that people have different backgrounds, and how do we create a problem that appeases all.
I feel like she may have been in the first to finish track last year, actually.
That might have been the reason, yeah.
And the first to finish track had some technology constraints that made it a little more challenging for people. A problem that we did remedy this year, to be clear.
Okay. So maybe I was confusing that a little bit, but hey, to her name, SM Trying Code, she was like, maybe I'll try code for a UI prototype. Maybe that's my jam.
Unfortunately, we have a policy on Topcoder where we don't change handles, but if we did, it might be SM mastering code.
Yeah.
The way things are going,
Absolutely.
going from 0 experience to 2 consecutive TCO finals over the course of 3 years.
That's just amazing, and that's also a thing that I notice a lot. Whenever someone asks me how do I become great at code, I'm like, you just got to go for it, and don't be afraid of losing. I mean, take it more as I'm getting better. I learned something, and just keep going. Mm-hmm. So, one of the most common questions I get. So, I'd like to share that answer there.
Cutting back to the studio shot here.
Oh no! Right when I'm next to you,
no,
looking
that's cool.
at the screen.
We have the screen here. This is where we can look at what we
Absolutely,
need.
yeah.
So I'm going to be looking here for a second as we just highlight the other members who we can't show their screens right now in the UI prototype competition.
Cool.
So we talked a little bit about SM Trying Code. Way down at the end of the row there, you can see me trying to see. I see Christian77 from Colombia.
Christian77. All right. I haven't heard much about him. I guess maybe he snuck in. I'm not sure if it's his first TCO. Do you have any?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Don't hold me to it.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know.
Seems like a new name, though.
Yeah,
Definitely
he's
seems like a new name.
at least for me and Nick, he may have flown under the radar, but obviously, if you're here, you've earned that opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I wish I had a little more I could say about Christian. I'll have to go talk to him after the competition so we can have a little more to say when he's probably back next year.
Yeah, of course. And typically there are a lot of repeats, but there are some people who actually sneak in, grab a spot, and surprise people.
All right, seated to the left of Christian is Daka Sumit, coming in from India. Did I get that right?
Yes, I believe
All
so.
right. All right, cool. Anything, any tidbits there?
It's definitely a name that I do remember. Hey, I see Adam Moorhead here. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could get a little insight from him a little later.
Yes, trying to sneak in. He's ignoring us as we say his name.
Exactly.
That's what they do. That's what they do when we're on the air all the time.
I for some reason, when I think Dagasumit, I think purple. So I think he's a purple-rated member, competing in a lot of different challenges, winning a lot of challenges. Again, no surprise he's here.
All right, and then the last member whose screen we don't have right now, you did get to see a little bit of earlier. It's Happiest Theet, also from India, a competitor in the First to Finish challenge, now working on the UI prototype challenge. So having their own mini marathon match today is Happiest Theet. So we thankfully got to highlight a little bit of what he's capable of earlier today.
All right, that rounds it out. I believe we haven't gotten to a corner competitor yet,
Nope.
which we may have.
That is next. We do have a feed going, so let's swap over the inputs here and dig around in the many buttons we have to click over here with so many competitors. I'm still looking for them.
That's what happens when you're a grassroots.
Yeah, no, when you grow this thing up, the stream from a webcam duct tape to a tripod, which is what we did.
Hey, that was only 2 years ago, so who knows what happens next year.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll have a cameraman and a producer.
Hey, we talked to our CEO. He said, hey, we got to build this thing up.
All the money.
He wants it to be a sports center type.
Yeah, no, he does, and that would be awesome. And maybe Maybe you'll get an upgrade from me and Nick, but don't count on it.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, we're now looking in at Leo Anath, who comes in from India as well.
Leo Anath, yes, I again met him at the first UI prototype finals in Indonesia. I think it was almost between him and Muli G at the time for that first place spot. Again, UI prototype, I believe, only had 6 competitors back in the day, and for it to have evolved into 11 competitors really says a lot about the track and all the great work that they're doing.
All right, so a little work from Leo Anath going on here. Looks like he's in his CSS. So it's kind of a different approach. What we've seen with some of the other competitors is that they have they have their editor open on one side of the screen and some sort of visual representation of what
Right.
they're working on. Oftentimes the HTML running. In this case, we see he's using a couple different desktops and swiping between the two. So we
Sometimes
have
you
the
just want to
Zeplin
see everything
picture.
at once, right?
Yep.
Take-
Yeah, we have the Zeplin
utilize
picture
the
there,
space.
and then his editor on the other screen. So we're getting a lot of swapping back and forth as he makes small edits to render that page correctly. And we do have one more competitor we have to take a look at in the UI track, whose screen we do have. So let's. Did I do this right? Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me do a quick correction because I have 2 different machines here that I play with. Actually, we're not looking at Leo right now.
No?
No, I have the wrong name up, but now
Oh, no.
I have the right name up. So actually,
Easy enough.
it's Basilica who's swiping between
Okay.
the 2 screens. That's my mistake,
Awesome.
but I'm glad I caught it and we could correct that. So the approach used by Basilica Olariu, who was in the first to finish as well as the UI prototype competition.
Oh, can you imagine just switching gears that fast? And
Actually, I can, as I switch
really?
between
Oh.
machines and get it wrong all the time. But
well,
no,
I think they have like a little different situation than you do.
Oh
here.
yes, yeah. No,
But they're doing well, it seems.
they
so.
have a lot more work that they need to do than I do.
Right.
So now let's give Leo the proper treatment
There
as
we
I
go.
swap feeds, get the nameplate back correctly. This
Leo,
is how
what are
Leo's
you
working
up
right
to?
now. So Leo also working on some CSS right now.
Using a
and-
program called Atom, not to be confused
Atom?
with our Atom.
No, ATOM. I use Atom as well. That's
Yeah,
my preferred
exactly.
editor.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it is.
Huh. I might have to
I don't
try
do
that.
prototype work, but I like it.
Cool.
Topcoder admin Lazy Bear, who some of you may know, got me started on it and got me hooked.
Cool. So it's better than Sublime too.
I think so, but I don't have an objective reason to tell you why.
Yeah.
I just like the feel of it.
Cool.
Oh, actually, you know what? There is one thing. There's this built-in Markdown editor, so if you're writing something in Markdown, it'll render it in real time right next to what you're doing, so you can see how it looks, which I really like, especially
Ooh.
since I spend a lot of time writing Markdown files and throwing them up on the front page of throwing them up as READMEs on my GitHub repos.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, I think we
Oh,
are gonna have
I
a
think-
special guest come in.
I think Nick just
Summon?
managed to summon a man who's probably exhausted with all the competitions he's running right now.
Extremely exhausted.
I'm
It's
talking to
Adam
customers,
Moorhead
right?
Hello. Hello.
returning once again. Adam, thank you for coming back on.
Not only is he doing 4 maybe huge rounds of design, he also runs the UI prototype competition that you're seeing.
Yeah,
right
he's probably the guy who talks more than me. The only guy here who has to talk more than me.
No, you're definitely talking more than me. You're constantly talking.
Are you sick of it yet?
Oh no.
Oh,
It's
good.
It's good.
It's just like
Awesome.
a nice drone in the background.
So I try to give a high level of exactly what is going on, but I don't know if you want to maybe solidify it a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Are we showing prototype right now?
Yes, we have 5 competitors,
We do.
so just throw a name out
We
there,
have the
Adam. I'll get them for
5
you.
on
Yeah.
the right side.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we don't have Muli G, who is our
Right here.
reigning champion.
Here's our list.
Okay. Have we talked about what we're doing here?
What? Nick has. I'd like to get the Adam explanation as well. I mean, not that the Nick one was bad.
I'm sure the Nick one was great.
I did my best.
So,
All right. We'll jump in and see what High for Sandy is doing
Cool.
while you're talking through
That's
this. So
good.
hopefully you can kind of map that out with what he is working on. Just give me a second while I hunt him down in my list of member names.
Sure.
There we go. High for Sandy. This is work being displayed right here.
okay, this is great. So this year we are working on converting a mobile, essentially to be a responsive application, but this is the mobile view of the application, and what it is it's a crowdsourcing internal customer crowdsourcing application. So imagine you work at a company, and this one you notice some of the materials are maybe like cereal and things like that, but you have such a passion for the company you work for, and you're out and about and you're at the store and you happen to notice that maybe that cereal box isn't being displayed correctly. Maybe it's damaged, maybe it's water damaged, maybe it was on a skid that it fell off and the store still decided to sell it. This application would allow you to kind of take a photo of that. So the idea of taking proof or the ability to take evidence, right? And then you can send that in so that they can contact the store to make sure that the brand is being presented properly. And it could be for other things too, just like is the logo or other things going on in the store, is things being displayed properly. So just using the idea of crowdsourcing internally at a company to kind of help control customer experience around a brand, which is pretty neat. And then you can start from this idea, you can start to do other things like do suggestions and ideation inside the application within your employee base. So right now we're focused on converting 3 screens of that over 5
3
hours.
screens.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 screens.
I was
Great.
gonna
I
ask
wasn't sure
that.
the number either, so I'm glad that
I
we
saw a lot of
brought
people
you
working
here.
on this screen, so I thought it was. Oh, there we go.
So we have 3 screens that we're looking to convert, and the key thing here is in a UI prototype, we're looking at the quality of the code, how well it renders in the browser, and how well it looks compared to what the designer created. So I always like to say the UI prototype track is our unicorn track, because it takes the skills of design and development and merges them together, and a lot of customers don't have this. So this is why it's the unicorn, because customers may have some really great designers and really great developers, but they may not necessarily have that skill set. And most companies have 1 or 2 developers that can convert design and make it look like the design or what the designer intended. So historically, you kind of have that, hey, designer created something awesome, but is it practical? We don't know. Developers take it, they make it work. Hey, it works, but when it comes back, the designer's like, I don't know what this is. It's not what I designed. So that's what these UI prototypers are doing. They're solving that problem and doing an amazing job.
That's so cool. And I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but you might be able to add some color to it. Just the evolution of this track in itself. Wasn't it just a couple years ago that it started as being a TCO event, or is it?
Okay, yes. So it's been around for a while.
Okay.
This is only the 3rd year it's been at the TCO.
Got it.
So we really tried to push to get it to be an on-site event. There are a few things like the wireframe track. We haven't had an opportunity to make a TCO event yet. But we still have champions, right? But this was one that we were able to fit in finally into the schedule. It also means we're all here a lot longer, many more days.
Exactly.
But the opportunity to reward the best HTML UI prototypers and have them come here and compete for the championship within this track.
Now, the first year there was only like 6, right?
There were only about 6. There were only about 6 that I think could make it, because remember we were in Indonesia,
that's
right?
right.
In the first
And
year,
they had to pay their way.
No.
Oh, no, they didn't. Okay.
If they qualified, we
That's
paid
right.
their way, right? So
And how long was that competition?
that was so the very first year was our first time we ran it. It was 19 hours
Oh my
straight.
God. I remember them sleeping in their chairs just to get a
Yep.
nap in.
Well, I remember you and I sleeping in our chairs.
Oh yeah, we did that a lot too.
But the amazing thing about that the thought behind the 19-hour was we actually, just a little background on this. We did that in parallel. There was an event happening in New York, and the results of the championship would be presented at the New York event.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we had to deal with time zone, Indonesia time zone compared to New York time zone, and then we had to deal with like how much could we get done in the time period. So we decided, because this was our very first time, we want to make sure the UI prototypers had enough time to do the work. We didn't know like the effort, and we wanted like a prototype that would resemble a prototype, not just hey, do one screen, right? And so we did it for 19 hours in the idea, similar to the marathon, that the competitors could take a break if they want to. It's like they gauge their own need to stop and get food and rest and that. But what we learned was that everyone didn't stop. No one rested, and everyone competed for 19 hours straight.
And they looked dead.
How
at
many
the end.
screens did they put together over the course of 19 hours?
Oh, it was amazing. It was kind of like a digital. It was like a DJ phone music selection application. It was very, very cool. It was like it would work inside a company. Like you could walk in and you could change the radio or change the music as you walk in, or it would know that Will showed up and it would change your playlist, that kind of stuff.
You could set your own entrance music.
Yeah, you can set your own entrance
Oh,
music,
that would
right?
be
It was
fun.
very, very cool. And so this
Love
was
it.
then presented in New York, and it was amazing. It was awesome. So the key thing here is we had interactions. There was a lot of things that we were prototyping, putting into the demo, right? And that's what needed the time. So it wasn't that there were a ton of screens. It was just that there was those things that we wanted to prototype. Then last year, we decided to pare that down, and we ended up having 2 rounds. I think it was 2 rounds of 4 hours each, so 8 hours total. And they got some feedback after the first round. And this year we pared it down some more. We're now doing 5 hours, but it's very focused on, like I said, these 3 screens and the ability to really see how everyone kind of renders and is able to capture these interactions and the code quality. So what we're going to do, what we've done all 3 years is in the UI prototype track, we do peer review like we do in Topcoder.
Okay.
And we have 3 members slated to review review this, spend the next 12 hours reviewing, because they have 12 hours and that's it, because we have to announce winners tomorrow.
Now,
Yeah.
it's 6 hours of competition, correct? Or
5
five and a
hours.
half. 5 hours of competition, 12 hours to review it
Yeah.
all. I mean, it's a lot of code to review.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
So, I mean, we have, each one gets reviewed, a couple times by everyone, right? And then what's different is that we also have a judging scorecard. So, while I know everyone would love to have appeals, there's no appeals in the championship. So it is like how well you did, what was your quality of your code, how well it rendered, did you achieve what was stated, and then how good was that code, and then I essentially have final word on the review. So I go back through, make sure the reviewers did what they were supposed to do, and then if it's a tight race or if there's certain things, I go back in and look at quality things myself as the ultimate decider.
That's awesome. I was wondering if we could get some of your thoughts of the new faces that we see here in the UI prototype track. Like, I believe it's Thomas Kornitz's first time. SM Trying Code had moved.
This is actually
to first
Thomas
to
is
finish.
second. Yeah,
Oh,
he
it's
was
the
in
second.
prototype
Oh,
wow.
last year. His first time in first to finish, I believe, was this.
Yes, first time in first to finish.
Got it. And SM Trying Code went from first to finish to
I believe.
UI prototype.
Yep.
Was that it?
Yep.
Okay, good.
I
I'm
know-
glad my memory served me well.
I know
And-
Leonard's been there
And
all
Iverson,
3 years.
Iverson LV's qualified in the past, but this is the first time he's actually made it. Been able
Oh,
to
really?
come. Yeah.
Hyper Sandy seems like
Oh, yep.
he's always
Oh,
there.
yeah. This is his favorite track. So,
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Any other first-time faces here, Adam?
I love that Leo's back. So Leo and NF, he's
Yeah.
back. So,
Happy Steve, Daga Sumit,
no.
NGHI.
Oh, Christian 77. This is the first time.
Oh, we were
All
right.
right, we were right. Yeah, we
We're
were.
like, we haven't heard of that one before.
Yep. It's his first time. So.
Cool. Familiar with his work?
Yeah. So that's what I love about this track is that we do have some, veterans, right?
Mhm.
But it's opened up a new avenue for other top coders to get into it, right? Because
cool.
we have a TCO track, the ability
Mm-hmm.
to make it on site. It's gained more interest.
That's
right?
awesome.
Which is the goal, right?
Yeah,
We want to bring more people
absolutely.
into converting over design over to the front end development. The interesting thing is I'll just throw this out there so everyone knows, like, everything needs to grow and evolve, right? So even this track needs to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're getting a lot of React work now, a lot of Angular work, and that's where, like, the prototype track needs to evolve to. Like, the ability to say, these are the front end technologies and the front end things that we need, and to be able to execute on that in a consistent way. So anybody out there who's into those technologies,
Absolutely.
it's definitely going to be more, you're going to see more of it in the UI prototype.
Yeah, speaking of the new technologies and tooling that's being used here, we have seen Zeplin being used by a lot of the
yeah.
competitors. Actually,
Good call.
we just saw it on Leo's screen a moment ago. Do you mind telling us a little bit about Zeplin and how the prototypers are using it?
Yeah, so everyone's seeing it because we provide it. So typically in the UI prototype, we provide a Photoshop or a sketch file, and we ask the UI prototypers to break that down. And so part of the skill set here is the optimization of graphics, the optimization of creating your ping files, or SVG files, right? How well can you create that in UI and have it be fast and efficient? But what we're moving more towards, because there are tools like Zeplin, Zeplin allows us to take the digital assets, put them into Zeplin, and it helps create those the hex numbers, the CSS. It helps create some of those initial assets.
Wow.
So everyone's working from the same spot, and they can export those and generate those files, so no one has to open up Photoshop and they need 100 megs of RAM or whatever, right?
Wow.
It's like everything's kind of low fidelity in that regard, that they can generate everything out of Zeplin.
That's awesome. So
Very
that
cool.
must be like the one step toward evolving this track.
Yes.
This could be it, right?
Right. So so the goal is, before we actually run prototype challenges, is that we'll take the step to get it into Zeplin, or something similar. There are other tools that do similar things, but that's the idea.
Have they been using Zeplin for a while?
Only some of them. Some of them it's new because
Okay.
it hasn't been in every challenge. But we thought it'd be easier because they only have 5 hours to do that for them, instead of having them spend a lot of time opening up Photoshop and converting all these files. And yes, I truly believe that's a skill set in itself. It's one of the reasons why we don't have the designers do it, because I feel like if you're creating the code, you should know how to optimize the graphics also. But with these new tools, a lot of that's almost done for you anymore. So.
All right,
Cool.
awesome. And I think that kind of plays back both the development challenge running right now and the UI prototype. We don't want to force anyone to do things the hard way just because that's the way it used to be. It's
Right.
wide open. We want to evolve.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Same thing. Same thing on dev with the open source libraries, the starter packs that we provide. We want to give everyone that running start so they can really focus on what they need to deliver and not on the tedium
Yep.
that it was existed in the past. So right now we're taking a look in at Leo Ananth, kind of working through some of his HTML at the moment. Anyone you wanted to check up on, see how they're doing, Adam?
Can we see Thomas?
We
Yeah,
can see.
sure.
I do have a feed for Thomas. So 1 second as I switch the video over there and update the nameplate. There it is. So yeah, now we're looking in live at Thomas Kranitsas, one of the favorites on the stream. Everyone loves seeing Thomas work.
We get a lot of those like little hearts coming by.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The Facebook blows up every time Thomas comes on the screen. I think he's got a lot of fans back home.
Nice.
So
There isn't really much for me to talk about here.
Yeah,
Just
it's
cranking through
code.
it, right?
yeah,
Look at
it's
all that. Look at all that CSS.
tougher track to follow along on the screen.
It's funny.
a useful
So
experience.
I'm gonna
though.
date myself here, but man, it's just, I used to just open up BB Edit and start doing all this stuff, and now you have these crazy tools that organize everything. And I mean, I'd just be like, I'd be typing in my hexes just because I knew them.
Oh wow, memorizing your hexes.
Look at this stuff.
It's
You
hard.
guys have it easy,
It's
guys.
a full-time job is to keep up with the tools sometimes, it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Every day a new tool comes out, and it's usually some JavaScript-based tool, something .io or .js.
No, it makes me think of the analogy of learning by books and then learning by internet.
So it looks like, see, he's using right there. He's using Zeplin
Oh.
to quickly get that information, right? And some of it I think you can generate from there, but he's just hovering over the graphic and.
So in Zeplin,
Oh, look
if
at
you-
that.
Yeah, if you
That's pretty
hover
cool.
over, it's giving you the measurements, the
Uh-huh.
pixel measurements, so you can just
Yeah,
go
and the hex
slap
and
it in
everything.
there.
So
Okay.
did he just animate that to kind of make it look
Yeah,
like
he's
that?
added JavaScript, maybe a library.
But that's
or
not
something.
required. Is
No,
he
it's
kind
in
of,
there. You need
Oh,
to
do a little animation.
There's a little bit of JavaScript in there.
Okay.
All right. I mean, you want to get the look and feel that the designer intended as well. How's that documented? Is it just written out and needs to have these animations, or
Yep.
is it
So
in the
our
designs?
co-pilot on this is Lunar Kid, and he does an amazing job of always putting those details in there. Just it's written out. It's written out in the spec, and I like to think that's one of the reasons why the UI prototype track actually is consistent, and because the co-pilots know that there's certain details that always have to be written out. Like we need to be descriptive in on this page. These things need to happen, as opposed to just say, "Hey, Will, go code this." It's like, no, you need to, the logo needs to be 10 pixels from the left, and you need to be able to click on it, but for now you can put a dead link, and then below that we need an animation for the graph, and below this. So those kind of details, I think, in the spec make it more efficient in regards to the UI delivery.
And anyone watching us on Twitch or on tco17.topcoder.com or Facebook, you can go to topcoder.com. That is a publicly available spec if you want to see exactly what was provided to these competitors.
Yep.
All right.
They love it. Thomas
Yeah.
Kranitsas.
Thomas
There's
Kranitsas
fans.
always bringing in the love to this
Let's
stream.
check out what High Force Sandy's doing.
All right, we'll swap over. See.
This is great
what's
too. I
going
kind of
on
wanted
there.
to go to High for Sandy as well because he kind of has the design typically on the left side and he's got the code on the right, and he's kind of as he is coding, checking to see how it's reacting.
Yeah. So there, once again, he's using Zeplin. You see that? How he's just
Yeah.
it's because Photoshop, you'd be going in there and measuring all that, and
Oh
zooming
wow,
in.
taking so much time.
I have to be honest. I hate the tape measure tool in Photoshop. It's my biggest enemy.
So that's
whenever I
you
use
just
it.
now hover over it and it's giving him that information, right?
Is it now? Can I get it copied into your clipboard too? That you can just paste it right in?
That's a great question.
No,
I don't have
mean,
an answer.
that has nothing to do with the broadcast. That's just me being genuinely curious.
Yeah, no,
about it.
I'm saying like for me, Zeplin
Yeah.
is a means to helping the UI prototypers, right? But I haven't used it enough to.
yeah.
We'd have to ask Lunar Kid, right?
Yeah, that's.
So this is one of those
really
things
cool to
where
see.
it's a tool that many UI prototypers mentioned, brought it up, said why don't we start using this, and we said yeah, why not? So
And now, is it a paid thing that you provide to them?
it's a
or-
thing that Topcoder provides.
Okay,
So yeah, it's like we have a paid account with them.
cool.
All right, excellent. Is that something that aspiring UI prototypers can expect to see and maybe get some access to in the future as
Yeah,
you
definitely.
adopt the use
so
more?
as we move it, but like I said, there are some other tools now. There are some that may be free. So we may look at some of that. So I think we use that Marvel app prototyping
Yes,
tool
yeah,
in
yeah.
design. They now have an inspect type feature.
Oh, very
it's-
nice.
We're going to start testing that out to see if it does something similar.
So as you can see, as we are progressing throughout this competition, you can see that Hyper Sandy has created the clickable links that you see on the page. So he just clicked an all link that sent him to another page that he's working on. So this is kind of the objective, and that you're seeing live.
All right. Well, I know Adam, you have a competition to manage, and want to let you get back to that, and maybe you can turn off for a second if there's nothing for you to do. And I look forward to joining you turning off. But thanks for coming on and giving us the insight. I think we're going to head back over and take a look at some of the development competitors for a few minutes. So
Thank
if
you
you
for
want
having
to
me back
hang
on.
out and talk about development, you're more
Oh,
than
no,
welcome to.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good.
All right.
I will tell you. I think earlier today we talked about the design workshop. So we had our
Oh,
design
that's
workshop.
right. Let's get
Yeah,
an update
let's
on
get,
that.
yeah, let's get the recap on that. Real
It was
quick.
amazing. We actually had. So for anyone who wasn't watching earlier, we had. We're working on a mobile application for students that they could find mentors or like life coaches. So the idea of them being able to reach out and connect with people that can help them kind of in their day-to-day, or maybe even just find careers and things like that. And this is meant for kind of like inner city kids and things like that. And so we actually have the kids here today. So we had
Wow.
7 kids from the school.
Real end users.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better, right? I mean, they actually came in and they had so much fun. We put them in the middle of the room.
Really?
I was a little like, okay, well, I don't want to put them on stage, but they weren't really running stage around, and they loved it. They were so into it. They were
Oh,
like-
that's so
They were like, oh,
cool.
we thought we'd have to watch you guys do stuff. We're in the middle. This is great. I was so excited that like I started showing them some of the designs, and we gave them kind of the background, and they're like, this is gonna be for us. This is awesome. Like, this is great.
Oh
Wow.
wow, yeah, that's really cool. Did we find out if any of the designs were a little too dated and people just starting off on what the kids are doing?
No,
nowadays, or-
they said they would use all of them. So that's that kind of thing. I was like, no, you can't be mean.
You
I-
can
Yeah.
be.
No, please be mean.
I said you can be mean
feedback
to
is
all of the
best
designers.
feedback.
It's okay. They can take it. They're grown-ups. And most of them just gave a lot of positive. And they brought up a lot of, like, it did what I wanted it to do. It brought up a lot of conversation and concepts, and it got them excited about things.
cool.
And, there were a couple things that they brought up around just, like, they love pictures. Like,
Okay.
less words. So less words, more
Makes sense.
pictures.
Yeah, I commented on that earlier. Someone was just making icons that were just images and not words that say this is what this
And
is.
no description, just what do you
Right.
like?
Well,
Someone kicking a soccer
It was so
ball.
funny that the less that they were like, the less we need to read, the better. I'm like, okay. And then they were also like bright colors, like so bright colors and a lot of pictures is what was interesting to them. Anything that was kind of gray, they were kind of like, it's nice, but they weren't too as.
Did they
into
talk
it.
any at all about features? Were there certain social features that they maybe mentioned that would have driven them to be more interested in using the application?
Well, they definitely said that they would love to have an app that kind of combines all the social features. Not necessarily our app, this app we're working on, but an app in general, because they hate opening up all these different apps. So like Facebook, and
right.
Snapchat, just the general problem.
Yes, a master aggregator that would be
right.
that would destroy the market.
But they did mention that there were some features in the app that kind of use some of those ideas around sharing or badging, like you did something great and you could give someone a badge, or your mentor gives you a badge, or just you achieve certain things, like you go and take a woodworking class or something like that, and you get an achievement for that.
Be really cool.
They were they were into that. They were so into the achievements, or like leaderboards. They were like, leaderboards are the best thing because then we know who we need to beat. I'm like,
Nice.
that's great.
I mean, that's what we do. This is a
I know,
competition.
I know. But
We agree.
But hearing a 13-year-old kid tell me
Yeah.
that, I'm like, okay, come join Topcoder.
Yeah, we're doing something right.
That is awesome. And I want to mention that we did have Jexper on here for a little bit, and it was kind of interesting because you mentioned something last time you were on that sometimes the competitors will just go in a different direction, and he told us that he felt like after the first workshop he didn't really grasp what was going on, and that after this competition he felt a little more comfortable thinking he was going in the right direction. So that's kind of cool that these workshops are actually helping the designers create what they need to create.
Yep. It was great. I guess I could tell you who the current rankings
Oh,
are.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting all the insider info
Love
now.
it, love it.
Lay it on us.
We should do that tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we told them the first
do the
round.
designers know what the current rankings are?
No.
Oh, then we should tell them tomorrow.
Yeah. I was gonna say for whoever's watching. Spread the word.
Well, it's only 15 people on live right
Yeah,
now.
well,
Although they can watch it again.
Yeah, it'll be recorded. I don't know. That's a big league tease though.
I know.
Well, that's just after stage 2. Anything could happen after stage
Oh yeah,
3.
no. So it's definitely it's after anything. It's still open.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
And,
we had a really good judging session, and we used a scorecard this year. It was very useful. So
Good.
and I need to work on the feedback, but get that feedback back to everyone. I said I'd do it tonight. So
All right.
glutton for punishment. Adam Moorhead, everybody.
yeah, thanks. That's mic drop. I'm out. Okay.
All right,
right.
thanks for coming,
See you,
Adam.
man. See you later.
All right, and everyone still tuned in. We're going to now switch over to the development competition. I think Nick and I need to rest our voices for a minute, though.
Sure.
So we might.
You want to just put on Sky because I
Yeah,
think he still has a
let's-
lot of friends and family out there. and
Oh
we
yeah,
can do,
you read my mind. I
See
do
what
see
he's
the
up to.
requests. I see them, everybody. Everyone wants more Sky. Everyone's gonna get more Sky. All right,
do it.
more Sky.
All right, time to get a
All
glass
right,
of water.
yeah, we're gonna go recuperate our voices for a minute. We will be joined. We're hoping to be joined in a little bit by Topcoder CEO Mike Morris. So that'll be a cool interview as well. If you guys want to check that out, we'll be back in a few. Enjoy watching Sky. Try and win his second consecutive TCO championship.
And we are back for a little bit. I was actually able to get Jan Sadovi. Sadovi.
Something like this.
Okay. All right, really close. We were talking earlier. He was actually looking at a lot of the prototype competitor screens. He is very familiar with front-end development, and he was competing in the first to finish competition a little bit earlier. He was showing us a lot of the he actually picked out one of his favorites that he thinks is in a great position currently for the prototype track, and I think we are going to attempt to find him, and maybe you could give us a little bit of background, maybe of what you see, what you think, what you think of his code, and what you see on his screen.
Okay,
So,
I'll try. I just,
let me pull it up real quick, just for the viewers.
okay.
All right, so let's go over to Iverson. Iverson LV, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I just briefly looked around all the screens and saw that this guy is already checking a forum and doing some validation, HTML validation, and his prototype looks really, really accurate and cool. So I just saw it.
So do you think at like this point he's just putting on maybe the finishing touches?
Yeah. Just finishing touching. I already saw that he wants to submit, but
Oh, really?
go to the forum.
Oh, interesting.
And check some threads. So he has about he or she.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I believe it's a he, yeah.
Yeah. He has about an hour till the competition.
So you think he is most likely way ahead of everyone else at this
I
point?
think yes.
Yeah, because you were going around. You know,
I actually saw a lot of screens that don't meet the resolution of this monitor, so
Interesting.
I can't
really tell if
really tell.
they're completing it correctly. Got it. And I kind of did tease you a little bit in that, we know how great you are in the front end development. If maybe sometime next year we'll see you on the UI prototype. You said you were familiar with Zeplin, which is one of the newer programs that we're using.
It
on
looks
the
promising,
Topcoder
yeah.
side. So yeah, maybe we'll, instead of first to finish, we'll see you move over. It could be the same story. SM trying code. She actually moved over from first to finish last year. She was competing. She's now competing in the UI prototype. So it's pretty cool to hear Adam Moorhead. Are you familiar with him? Have you met him yet?
No.
So he's like our design, pretty much like godfather, right? And so he leads the design track. So he was talking about how the UI prototype members are like unicorns because you need to know, you have to have a mind about design and you have to have a mind about code and technologies such as that, right? And you have familiarity in both? You kind of have an eye for design and...
Yeah, I saw the just little details in the design, but I prefer to write more code.
Right.
Yeah, just I like to code. So
That's very cool.
I may be slow with doing some CSS and HTML because I'm just looking at moving it just for a few pixels,
Yes,
right, a few
exactly.
pixels left,
That's
and so on. And then I saw a clock and it's time to write the code.
Oh man, yeah, I know. I've seen that feeling of people, not realizing that they don't have enough time.
Yeah,
left, right?
I like when the application looks good and modern, but it takes, for me, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
Just sitting and moving, trying different colors and so on.
And we were talking about this earlier, and it was pointed out that your company that you work for actually gave you a shout out on Twitter, congratulating you for being a finalist here at the TCL.
Yeah, this was amazing.
And what company is that you work for?
It's called Flex Monster.
Okay.
We are doing a component for pivot tables.
For pivot tables?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like an Excel. So we have a lot of customers, especially from United States, and Actually, we are a small company, but we are doing it in JavaScript and using some modern technologies.
Very cool. Well, now you get a little more exposure here on the Topcoder live stream, well, this does get recorded, so you can come back and see it anytime you
Cool,
want.
cool.
It'll be awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining
you
me.
too.
That was Ian Sadavoy.
Yep. From Ukraine.
From Ukraine, yes. Plug the country. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you to Jan for joining me, giving you a little bit of background on the prototype track. Again, like he mentioned, we have about 40 minutes or so left in the prototype track, and it seems like some people are already finishing up and putting on the final touches, so that's great news. Let's go and see what other members are up to in the UI prototype track. Now I get to actually sit in Will's seat and get to experience what it's like controlling this whole production. We always say that we are a team of two running this production broadcast, but a team of one right now. So let's see what he's done here. Let's go over to, you know what, just because I see him here, let's go out to the development side. And we are going to look at Sky. He's been asked, we've been asked to show his screen quite often. Looks like he is in the forums waiting for a response. So this forum is titled Cloud Deployment. Looks like Ket's had a question about it. It looks like a video is needed for a particular if you're doing something in particular, you need a video. It looks like that's what was happening there. So it looks like Sky's just going through different profiles. And we saw him earlier using the Topcoder API to pretty much maybe download the data so that he can thoroughly test his solution. This one's called prodchallenge.json. As you can read there, we're getting some more insight into that. Gotta give it up for Will. He does a great job with his broadcast, and but yeah, glad to be the color commentator on a lot of this stuff, and thank you everyone for joining us. We are winding down, hoping to still get the CEO of Topcoder. Hopefully he's remembered us, but he is actually at an event at a customer event. So we're gonna have a lot of potential customers, perhaps people who are interested in learning more about what Topcoder does. They get to come and see the best of the best compete, so it's a treat for them as well. All right, so we have hi for Sandy here. We're going to bounce back to UI prototype. Here you get to see again code on the right side, and as he's making changes, he gets to react to them, and it looks like he's doing a little copy paste action as well. And it looks like we have Will back.
I see Nick is doing the one-man show now. I'm in the tall man seat.
Oh, how does it feel?
Back on top.
Thank you so much for joining me back with me. We lost a lot of viewers, I'm sure. I haven't checked really, but
Oh, while you were just doing your monologue?
trying.
Did you have a nice chat with Ian?
It was good, yeah. Jan.
Sorry.
I just learned that myself. So.
Okay, cool.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Alright,
Yeah,
that
so
makes
he had
sense.
some great insight on the UI prototype track, and it sounds like he may be a competitor next year, honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised. Did you talk about the tweet?
He did.
His company,
He did.
give him a
And he
big
thought it
shout
was
out.
Super awesome, and now he's got even more exposure
Yeah,
here with on this
I
broadcast.
know. We'll have to clip that out.
One of his, he was looking around at the different kiosks and he saw that Iverson LV.
We're gonna move over here. I feel like that's sitting in the third man spot when we want the third
Exactly.
man is a little weird. Just don't put up the nameplates, sir.
No
They'll think I'm you, and I don't want to do that to your good name.
Oh, I appreciate that. You're such a thoughtful man.
I know.
So, as I was saying, Iverson LV, it was one of his favorites to win because currently it seems that he wants to submit, but he's going through the forums, making sure he's not missing anything. He's going through the spec and kind of crossing off, making sure he's not missing any requirements, which is important.
That's awesome. I'm glad we've had him watching from the beginning of the competition, really.
Yeah, definitely. He did mention with the first to finish competition that it was a little more difficult for him as there was a little more back end work that was required, and again, his strong suit's the front end.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I will not be at all surprised to see him up here next year. Very cool stuff. So, who are we gonna go take a look at right now, Nick?
We were with Hi for Sandy. I'm kind of jumping back from UI prototype to the development.
I'm sure we still have a large contingent of Sky fans
We
out
do.
there.
I just had it up for another 10 minutes. But I think we're going to be moving on to Kets.js. See how he's doing.
Let's not go to Kets.
Okay.
Kets is having a few technical issues.
Oh,
I
is
actually
he?
just had with his output, I just had a chat with the team over there. They were trying to fix it, but I told them not to distract Kets in the last hour of the competition
That
with
makes
AV
sense.
issues. It's just out of respect to him and the time limit on the competition. I don't want it to be unfair because he's having output issues.
Okay, well, let's move to our other cab member, as mentioned before, Bird of Preru. Looks like he's got his app running on the right side of your screen. As Will mentioned before, explaining about the local host, you can see in the URL.
So I have this shirt. I almost wore it today. You said localhost and reminded me of it.
what's
So
that?
I have this shirt, and it's the 90210 logo, but it says localhost 127.0.0.1.
Oh, wow.
It's like super dorky. I actually got it to wear on stream last year.
Did you?
And then it didn't show up in time, so I didn't wear it. So I brought it this year, and I haven't worn it yet. And I just
You have
think
one more day.
I'm a little self-conscious about it. It's kind of really dorky. So
Well, I feel like if any place for you to wear that, it would be here.
yeah, I also have this sweet one I got for last year that I couldn't find. This one I was definitely gonna wear. It was an edit of the old Nintendo Bug Hunt logo, Duck Hunt logo, but it was Bug Hunt.
Oh.
Representing the little quality assurance there.
You wanna plug that T-shirt website? Because I actually kind of want to know. what
Honestly, this was a year ago,
Yeah.
and I don't remember. I've just
Okay.
I've had these like shirts sitting here for
Yeah.
a year.
That's awesome.
I haven't
And
really
it's like,
worn
I'm
them.
never gonna
Wore
wear
them to the
them.
gym a couple times, so maybe it's probably better that I didn't wear them today. I just thought it was. You said local host, and made me think of it. I also think I'm just a little delusional at the end of the marathon day here.
Whew, yeah, it has been a while. We have about 33 minutes left in the competition for both UI prototype and development. So
Yeah.
we're going to see some people most likely cleaning up their code and preparing to close out this competition. Now, these two challenges don't get any other rounds, as some of the other challenges we're doing. So,
Oh, quick shout out. Bird of Preru deploying his app to Heroku. I love a good Heroku deploy.
do you?
Yes. It's free for the free tier, obviously.
Yeah.
It's fast. It supports so many technologies. I can do it. If I can do it, I love it. So cool to see that he's got a working deploy out there. Honestly, I mean, I don't recommend. I'm not going to say anything. Actually, never mind.
It's like, oh, now we have to watch this today. Are you feel like you're being censored?
No. I'll tell you off air.
Sounds good. Who was the member who was using Swift, writing in Swift? I'd like to check in.
Serivolk. Oh yeah, we had talked about that. So Serivolk is on video 4.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've stopped caring. We're just going with the inside baseball here. All right, so that looks like it's him in his Google Doc.
Volk. Yes.
Yep. So you can see his tabs up there. He's got some Topcoder API stuff open, the forums, probably running through this this challenge spec again, making sure he's got all those requirements, because hitting every single one of those requirements is going to be really important. But the big question is, where is that iOS app?
Well, it looks like he is creating a deployment document.
Oh, yes.
So he
That's
could
what he's
be
doing now.
finishing
I
up.
thought, yeah. I mean, that's pretty important, is having a deployment guide. It's an essential part of any Topcoder competition, and the TCO competition's not exempt. You need to know how to deploy someone's app if you're going to test it, or if you're going to hand it off to a customer. So finished run. Oh, there's a real quick look there. If you caught it, it looks like he's running the iOS app locally. So he did finish an iOS app.
Okay.
I don't know if it's on an emulator or if he's running it on his local device, but I'm guessing he used that. He did complete an iOS app. You can see here that he's got that put together. Oh man! As he puts this together, though, you can see the demo app. He's calling out that Xcode group. So he's. He did that for his front end, which is a unique approach compared to his competitors. Just as viable, though.
And it looks like it really did help him. He played to his strengths, and using Xcode and developing in Swift are his strengths. And it seems he has 30 minutes still, and he's probably just cleaning up, creating that deployment document, and making sure that everything's in order.
Yeah, a little bit more detail that you can gather from looking over his deployment guide is that it looks like he's all right, so what? Oh, right there, step 1, build it on a real device or in a simulator. So that's your app. I did see some instructions. I'm not sure if that was a template or if no. Yep, looks like he's pulling out all of the S3 references.
Right, we're seeing some
At
motorcycle
first,
gallery
yeah.
stuff.
So he's pulling out. He's using a different deployment guide as his reference here. I was about to comment on his use of S3. I was guessing for file storage of the JSON files, but it looks like he's not using S3.
Okay.
So going back here, we have the verification, the deployment steps.
So he's just making sure he's not missing any of these common steps that you typically would put in a deployment document.
Yeah. And I mean, a deployment guide on a Topcoder challenge needs to be detailed enough that somebody who's not technical but not extremely technical could go and deploy it.
Okay.
So I mean, I would expect, Nick, you're technical. You're not extremely technical.
Right.
I would expect you would be able to deploy this as well. And I mean, for what it's worth, I'm in the same boat.
No, exactly. And this really did help. Again, when I was a customer and challenges were being finished, and I get the result, and I'm like, what do I do with this? And I'm like, oh, deployment doc, let's check that out. And it was pretty easy to follow, and I was able to successfully launch the demo that they had created.
All right. Nick, do you mind switching to video input 5? I want to check up on Bill S. Edison coming in from China.
Absolutely.
He's right there.
Cool.
So Bill S. Edison, just the relationship I have with Bill S. Edison, he basically carried one particular project that I was running through completion, winning every single development challenge. It was a mobile game, which is his background. He's a game developer.
Oh, really?
By trade. So that one project, basically, I was doing a mobile game through Topcoder, and he won every single challenge. And that pretty much catapulted him all the way to TCO, winning those challenges.
That's why we see
in
him
rapid
here.
fire. So it's interesting. I know that that's his background, but he definitely has the skill set to do non-game work as well.
And this is super exciting. We have been mentioning this, especially in this development track, of all the different types of technologies. He's using Python here, it seems like.
Very cool. Yeah, we've seen a little bit of everything. Maybe we should call over someone to give some additional insight on this.
Who do we
I'm
call?
looking at him right now. He's grinning because he knows I'm talking about him. But I don't think he's going to come over. He's coming. Yeah, he's got to man up. Ladies and gentlemen, just kicked the desk. We're about to be joined by Dave Messenger.
This is a special time. If you're on this lay, you are in for a treat.
We were going to have Mike Morris join us, but he's disappeared. He's probably been pulled in another direction. So our consolation prize is Dave Messenger.
Big consolation.
Great consolation.
So, Dave, do you mind telling the viewers what you do with Topcoder?
Sure. So I am responsible for our technology platform.
No, Dave is I think he's underselling it a little bit. He's a very avid technologist. I think every day he sends me some new framework or tool that he finds. He's like, check this out, it's super cool. He's basically a walking, talking encyclopedia of technology right now.
I'm passionate.
So I want your thoughts on something. Are you familiar with the development challenge? The goal of that challenge?
Yes.
Let's go to Serivolk for a second.
Sure.
So you know Serivolk 83?
Yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with him. And his top technology is he's an iOS developer primarily.
Correct.
So guess how he's handling this one?
I saw he's doing a little server-side Swift development.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think his front end is also going to be deployed on iOS as well. So really playing to his strengths. There he
Yeah.
goes.
I-
All right, if you want to check it out.
Yeah, I believe he's doing it.
Still doing his documentation. Actually.
Yeah, doing some Blue Mix. IBM has the server-side
Oh, is he?
iOS, so I believe he's deploying to Blue Mix, but I haven't actually caught exactly where he's deploying it yet. But I know in the past we talked about.
He's doing his deploy guide right now, so we're slowly, as he fills it in, seeing the stack kind of come to life.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've been over there looking at a variety of different technologies. Looks like we have some Apache Spark, we have some Python, we have some Scala, we have some server-side iOS.
Oh, Scala. Remember that one?
Yeah.
We have some Java. I mean, it seems like Node. I kind of running the gamut of technologies.
Yeah, some C# in there too. I saw Nightwolf playing to
yeah.
his strengths as well, being one of the strong Microsoft developers on the platform. I really like how open it is over there. The hackathon is the way to go.
I think so myself. Yeah, for sure.
So Dave, you'll be one of the ones taking the output of this and running with it, right?
Yeah. I think I think the goal of this was to try to democratize how people launch challenges. So an easier way for people to learn how to write better challenges, put better work out to the community. Not only for people launching challenges, but could also be used by members themselves, co-pilots on what makes a good challenge or what challenges might fit their skills. So I think there's a lot of different ways people can go with it. So we're pretty excited to see what the results are.
Yeah, it certainly helps us internally, but I definitely see a lot of benefit to the community as well, as far as just getting better outputs from us, or better inputs, I should say, to their process, so that they can do better results and hopefully win some more too.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
All right, taking a look in now at Veshu. Yeah, more documentation. I feel like we're in the documentation phase of the challenge at this point. Everyone's probably
Yeah,
gone
must
as
be
far
good
as they
news,
can
though.
with development.
yeah, they're trying to wrap it up to make sure that it's deployable, testable, so that the judging team can review and be able to give them an appropriate score. So got to make sure you just like when you eat, you gotta eat with your eyes first. So you gotta make
Exactly.
sure that all the dressing's done well before they can get into the meat of the application. So.
All right, swinging over, checking out Oyanki. I don't remember what technologies we had over here. I see him running the app locally.
Got his Mongo database tab open.
Oh, cool. Yeah, probably going with a mean
Node.
stack then. Yeah,
Yep.
good stuff over there. Saw a couple people who had already deployed their apps to Heroku, Dave.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
yeah. A few Heroku. We got Heroku. We got Blue Mix.
Now, was deploying it to a hosting service part of the challenge, or
Yeah.
just
So
going above and beyond?
they have to have a way for the reviewers to be able to test and play with the application. So the easiest way to do that is to deploy it, make it easy. It reduces the burden on the reviewer. So we did ask them to either give screenshots, a video, a walkthrough, or a deployed application. So I think most are going with a deployed application to show that building something real. It makes it a little bit easier to do the review and see what their vision was, versus just kind of having a video walkthrough. It's probably also easier in the long run, because if you're able to deploy it and someone else can look at it, if you want to do a video, you still got to deploy it.
Yeah.
And then create a video, and it just gives you less time to do work on the development aspects.
Yeah. The big difference being deploying it locally versus on a service. But I think it's safe to say we won't be pushing anything to IIS anytime tonight.
No.
Thank God. Taking a look now at Chalk68, playing with his preferences, trying to figure out what's going on in the background there. Looks like still coding. This is our Java competitor.
Yeah, you may check out. I mean, Nightwolf might. He might be deploying some to Azure.
Yeah, that's totally possible. Checking on Nightwolf's on 1.
And even potentially, last I heard, there's actually more production workloads in Node.js on Azure than any other platform.
I've deployed quite a few Node apps to Azure. It's actually a relatively painless process.
So he's actually using SQL.
Interesting. Well, let's see here. You want to huddle in here?
it
Let's
looks
see what's
like
going
he's
on.
got some,
There we go.
Visual Studio. He's using
Visual Studio.
Topcoder, it looks like.
Yeah, look at this. He's actually got a SQL script up right now. So we've seen a lot of the members using Mongo for their data store. Nightwolf sticking with SQL. So I wonder if that's getting deployed to Azure. That would be probably the safe way to go.
Yeah, that'd be my guess too. I mean, Azure's come a long way too with a lot of different types of storage, not just straight SQL. So
Microsoft as a company has taken a lot of great steps forward as far as embracing open source more, opening up their technologies, becoming more developer friendly, kind of breaking out of that reputation they had from the early 2000s.
yeah, I completely agree.
Flashback. All right, so it looks like he's going to go the video route.
Oh yeah,
So if we stay tuned, we can actually watch him record his demo video.
yeah. We'll see what he's trying to do here.
Looks like something's not working quite right.
Well, that's always fun when you have 20 minutes left in the challenge.
Yeah, and I think also for these competitions too, I believe everyone is using their own computer.
Right.
Yes, I believe so. Some nice backdrops there from Nightwolf on his desktop as he tries to troubleshoot his video recording solution.
Oh, no.
But video, I don't know if video is required for this one. It might
It's
this might
not.
just be habit.
Yeah, so it's your option. You could do a deployment, you could do a video, you could do screenshots and a walkthrough, but the video or deployment were the two preferred delivery mechanisms.
All right. Well, I think we have to give him a few minutes to sort that out. I am genuinely curious to see if he's on Azure, which is, like I said, a service that's impressed me since I started using it more heavily in the past, probably 2 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's
Looks like he's
definitely.
installing and reinstalling.
Wow, that's really fun and displays in the challenge.
I almost wonder we should recommend. There's a lot of tools out there that might be able to capture it as well. To help you out.
Yeah, I'm partial to Jing.
That would be what I would recommend too.
Yeah.
What's it called? Ching?
Jing.
Oh, Jing. Yeah. okay, I see that.
Jing. Yeah, it's good for screenshots and videos. 5 minutes or less. It's free.
Yeah.
It even includes a free hosting option to put your video up on the web.
Looks like he's got some Postman going here too.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Postman across all of the competitors as well. It's always interesting to see the tool sets, but I don't think there's a better one than Postman for testing your endpoints. All right.
Now,
Well,
there has been.
I feel for the guy as he's going through this right now.
Yeah, maybe we'll come back to him and see what he's up to a little later. We'll catch him recording his video. I want to jump on over to Sky because there has been some talk about him and utilizing our API of some sort. Do you know anything about that?
I just know he's been hammering it.
Oh.
Yeah. So it looks like he's using some of the V2 endpoints.
Okay.
So they had the option. We did provide 13,000 records across 4 JSON. There were several different options. One was a JSON file that was 13,000 records in it. So basically divided into 4 separate files. So you could either read from the files, concatenate it, and just play with it locally, or load it into Mongo, your approach. We also dumped, I think it was 11 years worth of challenges, and they were dumped into individual JSON files. So we felt more comfortable just working with JSON files or taking those JSON files and loading them up into your data store of choice. You could do that.
Okay.
Or you could call the API. And it looked like Sky has gone down more of the straight API calling route.
I see. I feel like he might be like one of the only ones utilizing that tactic.
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, it was more of a joke. I saw some people walking around going, "Man, this guy's really beating the crap out of the API with this challenge. He's gonna make people sweat." But it's obviously holding up, and he's getting somewhere. So it's just one of those kind of hidden stories you don't hear about unless you are continuing to watch the stream 45 minutes after it was supposed to end originally.
Right.
You're getting the extra coverage right now with the insider analysis from Dave.
This is like your personal marathon match right now?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what we were saying, yeah.
Today, not just us. There are a few competitors who've been competing pretty much all day in a couple different tracks. You see Thomas, you got Happiest Feet,
Right.
Yeah, in
Basilica, Veshu down at the other end.
Long day for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's impressive to see people make it in more than one track.
Yeah, I know. I think first to finish and UI prototype have a lot of overlap because oftentimes you see front end issues that need to be resolved quickly.
That's true.
Going out as a first to finish, so it kind of plays to their strengths already, so that they can qualify in both places there. All right, so Sky is admiring his stats. It looks like.
Yeah.
He must know that it's on here right now.
I think he's been doing that because he's pulling his own personal challenges to look at it. So he's trying to evaluate the challenges. It seems.
I just like to pretend that he's got this swagger that he's like, I'm done. Now you guys can see my accomplishments.
So he's not necessarily looking at his particular app. What's he doing on his page itself? What's the purpose of him being at member/Sky at this point?
I don't know what he's doing this very second, but what he was doing before was he was looking at the results that were being displayed on the web page and comparing it to the API. So that, when you click through that, you can see your past challenges. So he's probably, just looking at a smaller subset of the data. So maybe what he's going down is taking that data and trying to do something to recommend like what might be good for a developer.
Okay. Well, this kind of explains the lack of action on Sky's screen because it looks like there are two submissions. One of them is Sky, the other one is Zhang Li Wu. They both have submitted to this competition already.
All right. Well, thank you to Sky for giving us that real-time update. Looks like, Sky submitted actually a while ago, his first submission, almost 40 minutes ago.
So maybe he's just wrapping up some things, just making sure.
Yeah, he may resubmit, or he may at this point just be web browsing. Maybe we'll see him pop on the Reddit or something.
Maybe he's watching the Facebook Live feed.
Yeah, I know. Maybe he's just messing with us right now.
It looks like he has some of the other competitors' profiles up there as well. So I'm sure he was utilizing that to his,
So he's now actually
purpose.
checking out the submission in an online review, the tool that is used to submit to Topcoder. Downloading. Yeah.
He's probably validating what he submitted there were no issues or problems in case,
Yeah, that's not a conversation you want to have after the challenge closes.
Yeah.
Smart. Just being very thorough.
All right, let's head it over to 5-star Wang Yi, see what he's up to.
All right, 5-star Wang Yi is submitting. We're watching him hit the submit button. So
Awesome.
That's
we are
successfully
getting
uploaded. So
he's our third submission we have.
yeah, seems so. I am assuming that he's going to go right now and follow up on that, make sure that it all got in there. But I suspect that that's what we'll be seeing for the remainder of this challenge.
Yeah, we can keep hopping around.
Yeah, 3 submissions.
Wow.
Wow, it's
I
like
think-
Nick, you had the
Magic touch
ESP
here.
right there. You knew it was coming.
Who else is coming in? Oh, looks like
It's Zeplin.
Spanhawk? All right, what you doing
Interesting.
there?
Spanhawk and Zeplin.
So he's like, the Zeplin notebooks, I believe, I'm not super familiar, but it's similar to like a Jupyter notebook.
Right. Well, we spoke a lot about Zeplin actually with Adam earlier, as it relates to
Is
the
that
UI
the same
prototype.
type of Zeppelin?
I believe that is
that
the
it?
same Zeppelin. Yes.
Okay.
Because I think the other Zeppelin had 1P in it. I could be mistaken.
Oh, I could have misread it. It was only up there for a hot second, so we're going to just move on.
Yeah. So I think it's
Oh,
much
yeah,
more
yeah.
similar to a Jupyter notebook.
Oh, okay. No, I just saw
it's-
the word Zeppelin and just
Right. Put two
went
and
one
together.
way.
I'm not
so.
too familiar with the Zeppelin, but notebooks, but similar to, it might actually be a Jupyter notebook, and Zeppelin is the process to host those notebooks, which are
Okay.
very common in your data science. So they'll provide you with different kind of algorithms, making it easier to build machine learning and things like that into your software.
So yeah, I told you he's a technology encyclopedia.
This is
Every
great.
tool
We love
I feel
having him
like
on.
Dave knows about, has experience with, or at least has read a brief on. I sit here, I go, Zeppelin, I don't even know what it is apparently, and you can give that
Is it
level of
dirigible?
detail.
Or a rock band?
Wait, sorry?
Could be a rock band, right? Zeppelin?
Oh yeah, could be. I didn't hear right. I was like,
Isn't that one of your favorite
I made.
karaoke songs, Stairway to Heaven, Nick?
My karaoke songs, putting me on
I
the
think you
spot.
should indulge us right now. Stairway to Heaven.
It doesn't mean I necessarily sing karaoke. I just moonlight as a DJ every once in a while.
Man, this is rapidly deteriorating as it gets later in the night.
Oh, of course. The competitors down to 12 minutes now. Checking in on Bird of Prey seeing if it looks like he is uploading a video to YouTube. It looks like he took that route, video recording route. So he is tying loose ends up. And
Speaking of video, here it is.
there we go.
We get to watch the ad. Even in the middle of competition, you're not exempt from ads.
Yeah.
3 seconds lost right there in competition.
Well done, Pringles.
Like that, skipping ahead, making sure it rendered well. He's good to go. I expect we'll see we'll see Bird of Prey submitting this in just a few minutes.
All right, let's see if Shock 68 is winding down as well. Looks like this is not updated. I think he's updating it, reloading the page.
Yeah, the nice thing about submission time is that the members are doing all the research for us.
Exactly.
10 minutes remaining.
Three submissions, and we've seen all those 3 submissions.
Was that those his unit tests?
Could be. Could be.
All right. Looks like he's putting together a feature list. He knows he's got 10 minutes left. Might be cutting it a little close, depending on how much he wants to type out here.
Yeah, so it looks like he must be doing some kind of machine learning. You see down the bottom, it looks like he must be his output. So based on, he must be training an algorithm. So he predicted true, and it came back as true. So he's checking the quality of his case based on the training. So he must be developed some. It looks like he's got at least one cycle being run. So he'll run it against a few different feature sets, hopefully.
All right. All right, checking out Zhang Wei Wu right now. Checking out the spec page. That tells me that he's probably just in that process of getting ready to submit right now.
Making sure he has everything.
Got to double check those forms, make sure he didn't miss anything.
It looks like he's doing a video as well.
All right.
PDFs are allowed.
Speaking of videos, do you think we can go back to Nightwolf, see if he solved his technical issues?
Let's see if he's done that. What number is he? Can you help me out?
He's on 1.
He is on 1. Sounds good. Nightwolf. Coming right up.
All right. Well, he's not working on video right now, unless he's working on video,
Still
and
in
this
the
is a
sequel.
recording. But
Oh,
yeah.
that's-
No.
Well, he wouldn't be on a sequel
No,
screen,
I
I don't believe.
Check out the sequel script on my video. I don't think he would do that.
So it looks like he's still at work.
Yeah, pulling back looks like Postman right there, yeah, and checking out his API responses. It's
Only
moving
9
through pretty
minutes
quick.
left.
Yeah, if he's having issues getting responses right now, that's going to be a pretty major issue for him. Of course, when you come in here, you parachute in, you see what he's doing. You don't really know the context. You try and
Yeah.
figure it out, but we could be totally off base. For all we know, he may just be double checking, the
Exactly.
the formatting or making sure he's got his commenting correctly, his code structure before he submits. So
Well, we've seen a lot of deployment guides being launched, so hopefully he's already done that, and he is just making sure he's making sure he's tying up those loose ends in the code. Let's just check on Bill's Edison, see where he's at. Bill S. Edison.
Oh, is it Bill S. Edison or is it Bill's Edison?
I think it
Or
might be able
Bill's
to go
Edison?
either way, however you think. It looks like he's going the video route as well. And
Alright.
it will be potentially uploading it to his account.
Yeah, he's
Probably
logged in. He's ready to go. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be done with his deployment guide already. And having seen his deployment guides in the past, I know that it will be thorough.
And he's a Python guy?
Well, actually, I don't know if you were on earlier. Bill S. Edison's a game developer by trade.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I haven't seen his Python work. Last time I worked with him, he did a game in JavaScript. Interesting to see the choice of Python. I mean, obviously, it's got some strengths, kind of churning through data. There's some following there. So that would be my guess as why he's doing it. Maybe he's flexing some new muscles.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys covered, but did you talk about what he did this week here at the?
No, we didn't, but that's a great thing to
STEM
bring up. I
school?
mean, I'm familiar with it, but I think you should talk about it since you just brought it up.
Yeah, so I know Bill S. Edison went as part of, I think one of the cool things about this TCO is that it's been very locally focused. So we had great local sponsors. We brought in local beer that was named for us. We brought in, very tied into the community. And one of the things we did is some of the members went into the community. Mahestro from the design side and Bill's Edison went in and talked to some students around STEM initiatives and building video games and displayed as video games to the students. And
Very cool.
I think everybody got a big kick out of it. They thought it was awesome, and it was just great to see him kind of giving back to the local community too.
Yeah, and coming all the way from China too, it's just so cool to watch him. This community just crosses the whole world. No one, it doesn't matter where you are. You just want to spread the knowledge and spread that feeling of community.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of glad that, Buffalo, I feel like has given so much to us, has been very welcoming, has provided a lot of what you see around here. And to give back a little bit through Topcoder, providing, the brightest minds in the world are here and having them speak to, their community. So.
Yeah, and I imagine for the group of children at the school, it's a lot cooler to hear about a game developer than an algorithm developer. I mean, we know what goes into doing algorithms here on this broadcast. We know the grind and just the incredible level of intelligence that it takes. But when you're young and you're playing games at home, meeting the guys
Yeah.
who make those games, it's gotta be super cool and exciting.
Yeah.
And were they typically mobile games?
I believe so.
Yes, to my knowledge. I mean, he might have other projects that I don't know of, but
Yeah.
I've seen him do some great work on mobile games.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I think we're closing up. It's about 5 minutes
See
left
if we
in the
can get
submission
some information
period.
here. So it looks like, let's see if we can get another look here.
It seems like Veshu might use Flux to protect his eyes from from the
That's what I was
monitor
thinking as
burn.
well.
Looks like he's using .NET as well. He's at least using Visual Studio.
Veshu is a very experienced .NET developer. I've seen his work in that technology as well. All right. Well, I think as we close in on the end of the development, we do have one more interview we'd like to get in before we wrap up for the night. So we are going to go on a quick break right now, and we will be right back in a couple minutes with Topcoder CEO Mike Morris.
Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave Messenger.
We're back in Buffalo, New York at TCO 17, the final interview of the night. If you stuck with us this long, you're in for a special treat because we now have the CEO of Topcoder, Mike Morris, sitting with us.
Special is one word you could use. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Mike's been about town, but made extra effort to come back and speak with us today, so we really do appreciate it, Mike. Do you want to say first to start? I mean, what do you think so far, TCO in Buffalo?
Energy is amazing. So I think I love seeing the, having the arena back set up as a true arena. I think the competitors are, as always, they're amazing. But I do think there's a little bit more energy this year.
I feel that too. I feel that from our sponsors and our hosts. They are super excited, and I think it's really infectious for the members as well. We've received a lot of compliments talking about the arena and how it feels more like a competition gaming type of environment.
I agree. So you got the whole theme of innovation. So we're in the Innovation Center at B&MC's campus. There's a lot of startup companies behind us, back here.
Oh yeah, we got a sponsor reel. Don't you worry, we'll put it in.
All right. But I think that's a neat backdrop for the Topcoder Open.
Yeah, totally agree. And the city of Buffalo has just been extremely welcoming.
Absolutely.
I hear rumors that we might even have New York's lieutenant governor with us tomorrow for
Yes.
the closing ceremony.
Really
Rumors.
cool.
So I will not confirm or deny.
Wow.
But the rumor mill is going at TCO right now.
Exactly. We're getting the mayor, we're getting lieutenant governor. I mean, Buffalo's pulling out all the stops, and they seem to be very excited that we're here.
Yeah, so Mike, how did TCO end up in Buffalo this year? We heard a story about it, and I'm just wondering if you
Is it
could
true?
corroborate that story.
Is it true?
I'm not sure what the story is.
Oh, okay.
It was from Samarato.
And it involved billiards.
Yes, and it involved billiards. And an
no.
allegedly amazing shot.
Yeah, no, that wasn't. There was a good shot.
It's like
had
give him
nothing
credit.
to do with the Topcoder Open. So Jesse and I came up, and they, like they're doing now, they put out all the stops, and they brought in somebody from the mayor's office, and they told us how important it was to the city, and we just got a great vibe, and that's why we chose to do it here. We had other cities competing for the TCO. One was a repeat down in DC, and there's a couple other cities that were interested.
Right.
But Buffalo, they made a lot of effort.
They lit up the falls in Topcoder colors. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I'm pretty, the Empire State Building did not have the Topcoder colors on it when we did it in New York.
Someday it will, I'm sure.
One day. Well, I think you trust your instincts correctly. We could just go down the laundry list, of being on the front page of the Buffalo newspaper to, I know Adam was on a news segment, talking about Topcoder. So, good choice, I think. And I know we have a lot more of the Topcoder admins coming in. We also have some representatives from our parent company, Wipro. And this must be one of their first TCOs that they've attended in person, correct?
Yes. So Wipro's CTO is there, Sanjeev, and Wipro's newest executive, so Milan, he's president of MIT, which is Marketing, Innovation, and Technology.
Okay.
He also runs their communications business unit. So he arrived today, and I think they also see the energy, and they've got to meet the team. So they have to meet, everybody from the Topcoder staff, which just puts their heart and soul into this event.
Absolutely. And it's also a treat for us, I feel like, because this is like the only time we get to see each other, in full. I think it's just great all around. It's great
You
vibe.
forget how tall Will is.
You do.
I get that a lot. Everyone says I look small on camera.
It must be the seed.
I just want everyone to know I'm 6'1". I'm not a small
Lazy
person.
Bear looks like he's 6'3".
Yeah.
That's it.
Now you think he plays basketball, and then he walks in and you're like, get down.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit of what's happening tomorrow on your end, what you're going to be participating in?
So we have 200.
Algo finals, right?
250.
He's going to be
I'm
in the
sorry,
Algo
I'm
finals,
sorry.
making a
Starting
surprise.
early, we have 250 registrants for the
250?
Topcoder Innovation Summit.
That must be a record, I think.
Custom, it's by far a record.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably get somewhere in the high 180, 190 range, I would guess. But we'll
great
be,
turnout.
a bunch of topics around innovation and technology and obviously the gig economy and blockchain. So we've got good speakers coming in. So we'll do that for a few hours in the morning. And then most importantly, we will bring that crew here.
Yes.
And then we will do a tour of the arena. We'll watch the algorithm rounds, and they'll get a chance to actually see what happens at a Topcoder event. And that's, at the end of the day, we are all here for the 90 people in the 29 countries that earn their way here. So
Absolutely.
I'm most excited about that part of tomorrow, is when you get to take those 180 people, walk them through this arena, and show them what this is all about, because their jaws will drop.
Absolutely. I agree.
So, Mike, what would you say is the most exciting thing happening at Topcoder today, from your perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question.
The most exciting thing. That's a tough one. So many.
It's because
So,
there's so much that
there's
excites
so-
you, I'm sure.
I mean,
And
I'm what's happening in R&D, product development group, is great under Dave's, mentorship and direction. What I think I'm really excited about? It's blockchain. So we launched a blockchain community on Topcoder, blockchain.topcoder.com, and so I think it's a huge technology trend. Buzzwords out there, everybody's talking about it. I do think that we can be on the forefront of that changing technology, right? And we're playing with it. We've been doing challenges with IBM. We're now working with Consensus and Ethereum.
Wow.
And if we can really get to the fundamental knowledge base behind blockchain into our design community, right? How do you think about applications that use blockchain? And it could be any type of application. And then our development community, of course, which we've already been running challenges, building things with blockchain. And then finally on algorithms. And there's a huge opportunity when you talk about, all the skeptics on blockchain come down to things like scalability, and those are solvable problems. And this is the community that can solve them. So that's probably, one of the most exciting things.
Right. It sounds like a perfect fit. You can take any of our tracks and utilize that technology.
Right. And cognitive.topcoder.com.
Right.
yeah, naturally, machine
That's-
learning is just so big right now.
That's the footprint we're following, is cognitive. So we're having great success in growing that community.
Yeah, we saw some development members actually using Bluemix on in their solutions. So very cool stuff.
And we'll convince them to use Watson next year. So,
Awesome.
all right.
Are we?
Mike, any words
yeah.
for the community before we wrap up?
So, what is most exciting for you guys? So this is the second, third?
Technically, it's the third year. The first year was
Of the live stream?
live
or-
stream? Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is
So you can
year
talk
number
about the
3.
first,
yeah.
first
So,
season.
It's been awesome. We've really grown this year over year.
Right.
I don't know if you remember, Mike, but the first year we did it, I had a webcam duct taped to a tripod.
Oh my God.
Running on a laptop. That's the look.
And
that
it
we
could
gave
only
Topcoder
get,
in
like,
year
this
one.
far
It was
away,
only
so, yeah.
we only did interviews. We had no competitor screens, but we still had some pretty good engagement, which was what the most interesting thing was that happened out of that. Since then, we've made some investment in improving it every year. We got our set for the first time last year and started sharing competitor monitors. Great feedback on that. People were very happy to see it, so they wanted more. So we went from 4 to 18 this year that we can share. So no one's had to look at me and Nick. I think that's why everyone's so happy.
I think that's
because
that's
they're
pretty
looking
much
at competitors' screens as we go.
There's always an uptick in viewership when we go to. But it is also interesting, especially for for
It's
those
why they're here. They're not here
coders.
for us. They're here for the 90 people who qualified and see how the smartest people in the world work. We're just here to facilitate that.
Absolutely.
So what are we gonna do next year? What's the next up level?
I don't
What's
know.
my budget for next year? See,
That's a better
that's why you
question.
put him on the spot right there when it's recorded.
Nice.
Jesse in the background giving the big thumbs up to me for that one.
Yeah, so maybe we'll create some sort of like Sports Center type feel for the next one. What do you think?
Yeah, I would love
Lead it.
that. I would love a producer, so I'm not reaching all over the
Oh,
place,
yeah.
trying to manage everything at once. I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Just get it a little more streamlined, so we can up our production value, and then of course make sure that we don't take any step backwards with the number of monitors we can share. Ideally, get it so every competitor is available.
Nice.
That's what people want. That's what we hear, and that's what we have to give them, I think.
Let's do it.
All right. You
That
heard
was
it.
on video.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us,
All right,
Mike.
Mike, thanks for taking the
stopping by.
time. Always good to talk.
Go Patriots.
And amen, go Patriots. Nice win last night in the fog.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks everyone. And with that, Nick and I are also signing off for the night. It's
All
been
right.
a marathon match for us, and we are out of here to go to bed. So,
Good night,
we'll
everybody.
catch you later. And,
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow for the algorithm finals and the design finals in the morning. Sorry, let me
Correct.
clarify. Design finals in the AM, 1 o'clock Eastern time, UTC -4, algorithm finals. We'll see you then. It'll be super exciting. Talk to you tomorrow.